At some point today, you probably said, "Okay," without noticing it. Maybe it slipped out as a response to a question, maybe you typed it as a reply that ended a conversation, or maybe you clicked it on a screen just to make something go away. It's one of those words that barely registers in your mind, like background noise. And yet, if you stop and really think about it, OK might be the most successful word humans have ever invented. It crosses borders without effort. It works in casual talk, formal settings, and even high-stakes environments where mistakes can cost lives. You can say it to a child, a boss, a stranger, or a machine, and it almost always makes sense. That alone should feel strange. How did such a tiny, unimpressive word take over the world? And why does everyone use it without ever asking where it came from? The story begins in a place that feels surprisingly modern, a culture obsessed with wordplay, jokes, and trends that spread fast. In the early 1800s, American newspapers were exploding in popularity. Editors and writers competed fiercely for attention, and one way they did it was through language games. They deliberately misspelled words, shortened phrases, and invented abbreviations that readers were expected to recognize as jokes. It was playful, clever, and very much of the moment. Think of it as the 19th century version of internet memes. People enjoyed feeling in on it, and newspapers were happy to feed that appetite. One of the most popular jokes at the time was misspelling common phrases on purpose. All correct became all correct, which was then shortened to OK. It was never meant to be serious. It was a wink to the reader, a linguistic prank. In 1839, the abbreviation appeared in print in a Boston newspaper, dropped casually into an article as if everyone already understood it. No explanation. No fanfare. Just two letters, assuming the joke would land. And it did. Readers recognized it, laughed, and moved on. At that moment, OK was just one silly abbreviation among many others that flooded newspapers and quickly disappeared. What's remarkable is not that OK appeared, but that it stayed. Most of the slang from that era vanished completely. But OK had something special working in its favor. It was short. It was easy to pronounce. And most importantly, it didn't lock itself into a single meaning. From the start, it could mean fine, acceptable, or I understand. That flexibility made it useful far beyond the joke that created it. It could survive even when people forgot why it existed in the first place. Its first major boost came from politics, of all places. In 1840, President Martin Van Buren ran for re-election. He was nicknamed Old Kinderhook, after the town in New York where he was born. Supporters latched onto the initials OK and formed OK clubs to promote his campaign. Suddenly, those two letters were everywhere. Posters, banners, pins, newspapers. Even critics used them, sometimes mockingly, which only helped spread the term further. Van Buren lost the election, but OK walked away stronger than ever. It had escaped its origin and embedded itself in everyday American speech. As the country expanded westward, OK traveled with it. Traders, soldiers, and settlers carried the word into new territories where clear, quick communication mattered. On the frontier, people needed language that was simple and efficient. OK fit perfectly. It could confirm agreement, signal understanding, or indicate that a task was done well enough to move on. It didn't waste time, and it didn't require explanation. In places where misunderstandings could be dangerous, that mattered. Then came the telegraph, and this is where OK truly transformed from slang into infrastructure. Telegraph companies charged by the word, so shorter messages saved money. Operators needed quick confirmations that messages had been received and understood. OK was ideal. It was unmistakable. It didn't require context. And it couldn't easily be confused with other terms. Railroad systems adopted it to confirm schedules and safety checks. Business offices used it to approve documents. By the late 19th century, OK was no longer playful or trendy. It was official. It had become a tool. One reason OK worked so well is that it occupies a rare emotional middle ground. It isn't enthusiastic like, yes, and it isn't cold like, acknowledged. It can be warm or neutral, friendly or distant, depending entirely on tone. Spoken softly, it reassures. Spoken sharply, it shuts a conversation down. Written in a text, it can mean genuine agreement or quiet annoyance. Few words are that adaptable. OK doesn't impose emotion. It allows the speaker to keep their options open. That neutrality made it incredibly portable. As American influence grew in the 20th century, OK traveled with it. Soldiers carried it overseas during global conflicts. Hollywood movies spread it into living rooms around the world. Popular music reinforced it. International business adopted it because it reduced misunderstandings. In aviation, engineering, and later space exploration, short, clear communication wasn't just convenient, it was essential. When astronauts said OK over a radio link, it wasn't casual slang anymore. It was confirmation, clarity, and trust compressed into a single word. What's fascinating is that OK didn't replace local words for agreement. It joined them. Languages across the world already had perfectly good ways to say yes or fine. And yet, OK slipped in alongside them. In Japan, people say, OK. In Korea, OK. In French, German, Spanish, Russian, Arabic, and countless other languages, OK appears in everyday speech. Linguists consider it one of the most widely recognized words on Earth. Some argue it may be second only to the sounds children use for their parents. That's an extraordinary reach for a word that started as a newspaper joke. Over time, people began to feel uneasy about such a simple origin story. It almost felt too trivial. Surely a word this powerful must have deeper roots. And so alternative theories appeared. Some claimed it came from Native American languages. Others suggested African or Scottish origins. These ideas were appealing because they made the word feel ancient and mysterious. But when historians and linguists went digging, the evidence wasn't there. The paper trail pointed consistently back to American newspapers and that original misspelling of all correct. Ironically, one of the clearest words humans have ever used began as intentional nonsense. The digital age gave OK an entirely new dimension. In texting and online messaging, it became even more efficient. Sometimes it's shortened to K. Sometimes it's capitalized to add weight. Sometimes it's paired with a thumbs up or a smiling face to soften its tone. A single word can now carry layers of meaning depending on punctuation, timing, and context. A fast OK can feel supportive. A delayed OK can feel ominous. In digital spaces, OK is less about its dictionary definition and more about social signaling. Psychologists have noted that people often reach for OK in moments of uncertainty. It doesn't promise too much. It doesn't escalate emotion. It simply keeps things moving. In a world full of complex choices and constant communication, that kind of linguistic safety valve is powerful. OK reassures without committing. It agrees without celebrating. It allows conversations to continue without forcing resolution. In many ways, it mirrors how people navigate modern life, cautiously, flexibly, and with room to adjust later. Today, OK is everywhere, but almost invisible. We tap it on screens to accept updates, dismiss warnings, and agree to terms we didn't read. We say it to confirm plans, acknowledge instructions, or end disagreements without reopening them. It functions like a verbal handshake, a small signal that says, "This is acceptable." let's move on. And that might be the secret to its longevity. OK doesn't demand perfection. It doesn't insist on certainty. It simply says that things are good enough for now. The next time you say OK, pause for just a moment. You're not using a filler word. You're tapping into a linguistic accident that survived jokes, politics, technology, war, and globalization. A word that started as a wink in a newspaper became a bridge between people who don't share a language, a culture, or even a planet. It's proof that sometimes the simplest ideas, even the accidental ones, can reshape how humans understand one another. Thank you for watching. If you have ideas for what we should explore next, drop them in the comments and we'll be sure to acknowledge your contribution. And if you enjoyed this journey through the unnoticed details that shape everyday life, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more stories.